Alright, so I am in like no way a colorist. I've barely even scratched the surface of color grading and like really only use Lumetri color inside of Premiere Pro. I just like making videos and making them look cool, and shooting in C-Log lets me do that. I'm also not a person that knows what I'm doing when I'm messing around with the sliders inside of Premiere Pro. So all the things that I do probably other people will cringe at because they just know I'm doing something stupid. But Dehancer reached out to me a couple weeks ago and asked me if I could do a review or a tutorial on their software for film emulation. So me not ever having somebody or a company reach out to me to do a review or a product or anything, I'm just kind of over here like,
I don't know what I'm doing.
But I figured, hey, you know what? They reached out to me. I'll do a tutorial. And also, everything in this video is my own opinion. They didn't give me a script or anything like that. All of my input into this video is my own. So they have nothing to do with the content of this video. They don't have any jurisdictions here, so I can say whatever I want. To be honest, I wouldn't even make this video if I didn't think that this is like a good software and something that I would endorse. Now, when you first open up Dehancer in your computer, it is a little intimidating. It was for me, because I'm used to like 5 sliders, mainly used for like exposure, contrast, blacks, and whites. That's the most I get into it. They have bloom, halations, all these different types of sliders, and grain, and like the scanning things that they do for film. It's very, not involved, but there is a lot. So when I first opened the software, I was like, whoa. This is a little much. But once I started playing around with some things and then looking things up online and then going to their website and looking up their tutorials, I started to get the hang of it, and it really isn't that bad of a thing. It's pretty like user friendly compared to a lot of like the editing software that people use like for professionals and stuff, which is interesting because this program is used by professionals a lot. So to have this be a software that professionals can use and also beginners like myself is a very big plus on my end. One thing that you will notice is that my laptop does struggle a little bit for the playback, just because my laptop is a laptop and like I have a Surface Pro 8, so it's not even technically a laptop. It's a tablet, and I just stuck a keyboard on that thing. Forgive me whenever I do some playback and it's like, that's something on my end. And also, for most computers, it is gonna struggle a little bit for frames at least, just because it is such a powerful program and it's trying to do so many things at the same time in real time. Probably have to get used to, but it is a good trade-off for how good the software is. Okay, so when you import your videos into Dehancer, I mean, obviously the first thing you want to do is drag it into your sequence. Uh-oh. Whoopsies. Ah, there we go. Okay. I don't know why that happened. It scared me for a little bit. I just have this real quick shot of just this. Now, I am going to slow it down. So I was doing it 60 frames per second. I'm going to put it down to a 24 frames per second. So you can see it's just your average shot, a bunch of leaves. After we do that, you want to right-click on where your project files are, right click, new item, then you do adjustment layer. And then most of the time it does that. I'm just gonna do 24 frames per second just because that's what I want it to go at. Then okay, then this little thing will pop up, and then you just drag that down to your timeline, stretch it out to whatever part you want to affect. You can do it directly to the video, but I don't like to do that just because flexibility wise, I like to be very flexible with my editing processes. So this just gives me that little wiggle room. Click that, go to effects, and then if you have Dehancer downloaded, you go down to video effects, then film emulation. Then you double click on this, and it should, in this area, yep, everything's there now. There's a lot of things here. I was like, when I first opened it, I was like, woo, that's a lot of things. But it's really quite simple once you actually know what you're doing. Now, the first thing that I do is for when you're in source, also, by the way, when you do first activate Dehancer, you will see it'll give this, like, in my opinion, like an ugly grainy thing. So you want to, at least for me, I'm going to reset everything. Like everything in this area, I'm just going to reset. Okay, now the first thing that I do is I go to input and then I choose my camera. There are things that you can do to choose them however you want, but I like to choose my camera. So, and then once you have it set to choose camera, this little thing will allow you to choose whatever. Now you can even use your iPhone. There are so many different camera settings and different like brands. They have Sony, they have a lot of Sony. They have Red, they have Panasonic, they have Fujifilm, they have DJI, pretty many Canons actually. Blackmagic, Design, all that kind of stuff. Since I shot an R5 at BT709, I'm going to choose that. You can already see the impact it has on it. Like, it just looks already amazing. Now, at this point, you do want to adjust your exposure, temperature, and all that before you do anything else, just because that's what you want to do. That's just the order that I found that works. Tint, I do like it a little green. I know I kind of had beef with the green earlier, but it was an ugly green. Okay, come on. I'm gonna close that and film. This is where all your presets are gonna be. There is so many, it's insane. This is really where you can pick and choose. You can choose really whatever. There's so many different, like there's black and white, there's all this stuff, there's Cinestill. I'm going to use Cinestill 800T just because that's my favorite one that I found so far. You can do push-pull. It just affects it a little bit more or less than what you want. Film developer, this is like where your contrast comes in, your gamma. I would prefer to leave gamma alone just because I don't exactly know what it does. Like, I can see that it has an effect on it, but I would just rather just use contrast. All this other stuff you can just leave alone. Film compression, if you do enable it, it gives you the compression of film. So like the blacks and whites will be different. You do want to change this a little bit. White point, you can see, like especially right here, if you look at this leaf right there, you can see 100 or 50% and then 120%, and then like it just gives the whites a little bit more pop, or no pop if you don't want pop. I leave tonal range and color density the same as it is. I leave expand alone. You can play around with it, like it just sets your blacks and whites. It's kind of the same as just like in Lightroom. I'm gonna keep it where it is just because I'm satisfied. I nailed my exposure pretty well. Print. Now, this is going to affect your image a good amount. I always use the Kodiak glossy paper just because it gives that like little extra oomph. Exposure, it's just another slider. I love sliders. I know technically this isn't a slider. I know in DaVinci Resolve there is actual sliders that you can do across. In Premiere Pro they don't have them, but they do have the option to slide it with your mouse. Film grain, like I said, I turn that off just because I don't really like the way it looks personally. Halation, I do turn it on, but I don't like it a crazy ton. Like, I don't want everything red. Like, I like the little bits. I like the little bits of halation, but not like, oh my gosh, it's glowing. I do like bloom, however. Bloom is one of my favorites, so off, on, it just gives that kind of glowy look. I do like that kind of glowy look. Film damage, that will mean that for whatever you're shooting on, you see those little white specks. I don't know if you'll be able to see it with YouTube's compression and all that, but basically it just, when they're scanning film, sometimes little stuff gets into the film, and so you'll see that when it's rolling through. So that just gives you the option to do that. I like putting it on. I think it just gives it a little bit more personality. Overscan, I do turn on. Overscan is really nice. Now, if you enable it, it'll give you these edges. And now this is what the scanner will see initially when it's scanning film. It'll see like the little holes that it uses to run on the track. I just like the borders. So I normally put mine on the Ultra 60mm 1.85:1. I just like that border there. I think it just looks cool. If you don't want these punch hole things, you can turn them off, or you can make them white, which I hate the white ones. I turn them off. That's pretty much all I do. There isn't a whole ton that you have to do to make it look like a nice image. So Dehancer, you did a good job at making this. They did give me the license for this, so I personally didn't buy it, but I highly recommend doing it. Like, even if I didn't have the license, I probably would go and buy this anyways. Like, it's a good program, and it's far better than Lumetri Color, like just the default thing inside of Premiere Pro. I can show you a different clip just to give you some variety what it might look like. Sometimes you can get away with the exact same color grade, and sometimes you can't. But in this context, you can. So that is one of the really nice things about doing adjustment layers, is that you can just do it over as many clips as you want, or not. And also, if you cut it, there you go. There's a separate adjustment layer with all the same settings. I think I will go in Film Developer, and I will turn up the contrast just a little bit, just because I like that, and I'll put a little bit of color boost. So it's nice. I always have mine at 1/8 of the quality just because I need to see the colors. I know it's in focus. I know the composition. I can see it. It's good enough. Yeah, that's how I use Dehancer, and will continue using Dehancer in some of my later videos. If you like this video and you would like to see more of this kind of content, please let me know in the comments, and I can definitely do another video on Dehancer or any topic really. I am very open to suggestions. That is the end of the video. I have an announcement. So, when Dehancer reached out to me to do this video, they actually said that they will give all my subscribers a 10% discount if they use this code right here. It will be active indefinitely. I'm pretty sure it will be active indefinitely. If it's not, I'm sorry. But it will give you a 10% discount on Dehancer's programs and software and all that fun stuff. They also asked me to let you guys know about is that a few days ago that they announced the Dehancer Colorist Awards 2024. It's a project they're very passionate about, and they're kindly asking me to do a small shout out in your stories or in the review itself, and add a link in the description box. So you will see that in the description box. You can learn more about the competition and key information in that link. So there you have it, folks. That is the official end of the video. Sorry for that little plot twist. Alright, I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.